we touched on what's real hip hop, and you touched on this next subject a little bit as well. But when we ask this question, generally people straight away are thinking of rapping. And as we know, there's other elements into hip hop. So this question is: are the other elements of hip hop underrepresented?
I think it's down. I think it's a little bit down to interest. You know, it's like there. For example, this month alone, there's been 2 graffiti events that I've been aware of that have taken place. You know, Secret Walls and Chrome and Black. Now, if you're into graffiti, you will find out. If you're not, then it's gonna go under your radar. And if they want to get a new audience, it is a little bit. I'd have to put it down to those people that are part of that culture to get out there and let people know that their event is coming, is there for people to attend and people to enjoy. So I do feel like representation is a big part of it. Is down to those who are participating in the culture. You've got to rep. You've got to rep. You've got to put it out there. You know what I mean? So I feel like to a degree the onus is on the participants. But having said that, graffiti, for example, is seen in some parts as vandalism. And how do you represent something that the council will take away or eradicate the minute you put it up? And if it's illegal, how do you put it out there? So to a degree, certain aspects of the culture is difficult. But I've been to different, as a rapper, hip hop's my thing, and it's there. Rapping is my thing. There are ways that I can contribute. There's open mics, concerts every night with other rappers performing. So rap is there. I've been to b-boy and dancing events, Breaking Convention recently. You know, they had 3,000 people in that theatre hall doing their thing. I went and watched Into the Hoods, which is like a fairy tale take but includes b-boy and dance culture. Full up, you know, and that was in theatres with all sorts of audience, you know. And there are dance battles that take place. Of the UK b-boy championships wasn't too long ago. They have their following. So it's there. DJs are at every hip hop gig. Every rap gig, there's a DJ there. Probably complaining about how he don't get enough love. But you know what I mean? The truth is, you're there. You're right there, front and centre, scratching away. So I don't think that all the elements are underrepresented. I think that rapping is the most vocal, forefront form of the different areas of expression in hip hop culture, and therefore that's why we see it a lot. But I think rappers have to take, if they are that forefront, take on a bit of responsibility, help them rap. If you got scratching in your video, in one of your songs, bring the DJ down to the video shoot. Make sure that the scratching part in your track, you're shooting him, you're showing him, or include some scratching in your album. Or, you know, dancers. I've got a video with choreographed dance in it. Yeah? So, I don't mean to plug myself, but go check Capital Punishment. There's dancers in it. I made a conscious decision to bring dance. So as a rapper, I know if I'm getting attention and views and I want to bring other aspects of the culture in, do it. Make it even more hip hop by bringing those aspects in. So as rappers, we're the most vocal. We get the most attention, admittedly. But there is plenty of representation for other elements of hip hop and lots of young participants. But if we rappers feel that it's not being represented as much, we'll be proactive. Rep for them, bring them into what you're doing as well. You know what I mean? But my answer is actually, to make it short and blunt, no, I don't think it's underrepresented. I don't think you can do hip hop without, it can't truly be hip hop without these other elements, and they are there. They're right here, definitely in London. And I know Breaking Convention, for example, the dance team has been touring nationwide and beyond our nation. So yeah, there's plenty of other elements of hip hop being ripped.
I think the question comes from the same kind of people who say, "Oh, this isn't real hip hop," and like to point out what isn't hip hop and what is. and they point out that certain rappers, that's not real hip hop because that rapper doesn't embrace these elements. And I always say to myself, so what have I got to bloody do a head spin and do graffiti in my video myself personally in every time I do anything in order to make that possible? Or you touched on something else on a previous interview, and you said that maybe these elements can be updated. Do you think that's actually something that's possible and allowed? Because the purists are so like, this is hip hop and this is what it is.
So if you're judging hip hop based on those elements, let's be honest, those elements were made, 30 years ago? Time moves on. Laws, regulations change. Rules in sport changes, Like, if we're still judging hip hop based on something that's 30 odd years ago, don't you think that we're going to become irrelevant soon? Like, for example, one of the biggest elements that is blatantly a big part of hip hop now, and some people think it is an element of hip hop when they misquote the elements. What about beatboxing? That's right, I'll let that thought sit with you for a bit. Beatboxing. That probably could, I would say that could definitely be considered an element of hip hop. But if we were to bring the rules more up to date, why don't we include them? I'm sure they must feel really excluded. Why don't we include them as an element of hip hop music and hip hop culture? So I think that things could be brought forward and updated, and maybe there should be more elements, and we should readdress how we look at things and shouldn't be so set in the past. I think that's probably a big problem with hip hop. And if we bring things up to speed, I would say beatbox is definitely an element of hip hop. Can I say one thing on this? It's about to hit the button. If you think it's not represented, the chances are you're not exploring outside of your comfort zone. Because when I went to the B-boy events, I didn't see as many rappers as I would have liked to see. I saw DJs, but I didn't see as many rappers. And you know what? Sometimes I feel it's because hip-hop is very much a participating culture. You can experience hip-hop, but the best hip-hop is when you do hip-hop. You dress it, you move a certain way. And so a lot of the time when you go to an open mic, there's a huge percentage of the crowd that actually rap. Yeah? And that's the same. It's kind of an endemic problem in a way. You go to a dance thing and it's like everyone there dances. So, maybe we should make a conscious effort to experience other elements of hip hop ourselves, and then we can really truly say whether it's underrepresented or not. Because as a rapper that was at a lot of B-boy events recently, I really enjoyed just going to not participate for once, but just to experience. And that's when I realized, actually, there are plenty of other elements of hip hop prevalent within this nation, you know what I mean?